Hi everyone, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about armor stands, and specifically Armor Stand Poser, the fabric mod that you can use to pose them. This is the same mod that is used in Hermitcraft for all my fellow Hermitcraft enjoyers out there, and this mod can add so much life to your build and really can do amazing things for how you build and add little bits of life and details. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is place down your armor stand, of course. Then by shift right clicking, you can open up this little GUI here. And going to quickly go over what all these different buttons do. On the left you have all these things: toggle invisibility, no base plate, no gravity. Always leave no gravity on, as it causes less lag for the server and allows you to move it up and down. So just as default, typically no gravity is on. Show arms, pretty important one if you're using it for like building. This adds the arm small, shrinks it. Toggle name, just shows the name if you name tag it. Rotation, pretty simple. Scale, the size. That's about all there is on the left side. You've got the poses button, and what this allows you to do is open up this pose menu. There's a bunch of preset ones, and then you can also make your own. So you can see on the right over there, those are just a couple from a build I've been working on. You can also copy, paste, and save them. All the usual stuff, just, yeah. Next is the like the armor stand picker thing, and what it does is it allows you to have many armor stands next to each other. You can easily point towards them, highlight them, and then be able to modify them. Super helpful if you have a build with lots of dense armor stands right next to each other and you need to be able to find. Next up, we've got head, limb, and just general armor stand position. X value allows you to like sort of point it up and down. Y is twisting left and right, and then Z is sort of tilting it left and right, as you can see with the head right here. Body, the rotation point to the body is a little weird, but you get used to it. Arms and legs are pretty simple. Same thing as the head. Yeah, and you can just move these up and down, and position allows you to scroll, and you can just move them left and right. You can scroll on all of these, or you can just delete it and type a number. Works better if you're trying to do bigger distances, so you can just type 1.5 and it'll move there. Mirror pose just switches everything back and forth. Mirror legs does the same for the legs. Arms, same thing. Swap offhand and head. What it allows you to do is, let's say you want to grab a block like this stripped oak wood, you can put it in the hand and then swap it to the head, and all of a sudden now you've got an armor stand with that as its head. Same thing with swap main hand and offhand, that just puts it into its left hand. Next are the fun ones: a line held block, so it appears on the surface. A little janky there, but basically what it allows you to do is place an armor stand. Hold on, let me delete this. You can't delete them while they're invisible, just a tip. So what this allows you to do is show no arms, no gravity, all the usual stuff, and it allows you to have it so that you have a little block right in the middle, and this can be helpful if you want to add little bits of detailing or mini blocks. There's also this with tools and items, so if I get, let's say, a diamond sword and a stick, maybe, stick, there we go, and grab this, and then I can just give it to them. Oops, wrong one. Give it to them, and show on the arms, gravity, give them the sword, and then all I have to do is press tool on the surface, and boom, I have a sword lying face down, perfectly aligned on the surface. And it is the same with the stick. It should work for item as well. So that might be counted as a tool. And you can modify these even afterwards. Super helpful feature. Nice to just automatically set them up, and you can then just make small little changes to it afterwards. So one feature that I use a lot, very useful if you want to do mini block stuffs and be able to move them around. Okay, let me just define and delete this one. Sorry, once they're invisible, it can be a little bit hard to find out where they're exactly placed. Is it varies one to one, and you just delete it. There we go. One other super feature is the lock ability, and this is in the bottom right, lock interaction. And what it does is it prevents you from putting any armor or weapons or tools on or off the armor stand. So, and very helpful if you're doing a build and you don't want you or someone else to mess. Okay, so now for some practical application. Seeing the possibilities. Now, how does it look when you actually try it out? Well, here's a little room in part of a build that I've been working on. I'm going to spend about the next 30 minutes adding some armor stands and seeing what I can do to spruce it up and make it look even better than it already does. So take about 20 minutes, see you in a bit. Is this leather cap a little bit too boring for you? Well, a little trick is you can do /give @s playerhead and then add the NBT data of the profile of what playerhead you want. So add little brackets and then profile equals playerhead. So I'm going to do myself, which is Momo Lemurs, close the brackets, and boom, now I have my head that I can put on the head of the armor stand and just make it look much better than the traditional leather cap. Okay, so it has officially been 1 hour, and this is what I've gotten done so far. So you've got a little security guard over here. As you can see, I've added some other armor stands to the side, so a sword and a bow, and then if you look on the back, there's a shield, and you can use other armor stands to just change the way the item looks. So over here, you've got a little person sitting in the corner, a couple miners, someone looking a little bit confused right there. Some scientists, again, with a clipboard, more armor stands, and a little bit of paper on it. So I'll just add more armor stands. It makes it look so much better. That's a little spyglass, again, with another armor stand. So if I just come over here and I can make it visible, that's the wrong one. So just go here and select the spyglass. This is showing super helpful tool. So I can just make it visible again. And as you can see, there's another armor stand right there that is holding the spyglass, so you get the different angle of it, and it looks much better than just normally holding it. And if we go over here, there is a little camera that I've made. This is about 6 armor stands all stuck together, and this is a super interesting way of using armor stands. You can use them to make little things like this. It is time consuming. This took about 10 minutes, but I think the end result is pretty worth it, and it just looks really good. So I think this build is an amazing example of how you can use armor stands to make everything look just that bit better and add life into the build. Okay, so you've seen all about the practical uses of the mod. Now, how to make that come true. Well, the first tip I have is all about head position. So we have Steve here in his diamond armor and just pretty basic. I haven't modified anything. Now let's say we give them the attention one. Formal, sorry. And basically, what you can do is it looks pretty basic. I mean, just standing with their arms behind their back. Nothing super interesting. Looks a little bit robotic. But then what you can do is just change the head position a little bit. So let's say they're looking down slightly. They're looking a little bit to the left. And their head is tilted ever so slightly. And all of a sudden you go from something super basic to human positions, because people never had their head straight up. It's always rotating, always pointing in some different direction, and this just makes it seem so much more realistic. Okay, so my next tip is instead of just using the basic holding, you want to use another armor stance. So you've got the guy with the sword, and let's say we want to apply lunging to it. Now it looks alright, but there are ways it could be made better. And the main one of these is changing the sword position. And how you do that is you add another armor stance. So you add another armor stand, and then you do all the normal stuff, and then you give it the sword. And what that allows you to do is you can change the position of it and fine tune it much more than if it's just held in the other armor stand's hand. So this allows you to have characters carrying things that they usually can't hold or would hold in a different position, and it allows you to make it look much better. So if I just situate this right here, give me a moment. These things take time, so it's a lot of trial and error and moving things back and forth, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, until you're finally happy with the decision. So you can see this already, once it gets into position, it will already start looking better than the original one, that where it's just sticking in their hand. And a tip is to always make it go really firmly inside their hand, because then it looks like they're really gripping it. So if I angle it down and then move it forwards, it really looks like it's a stabbing attack. It's a lunge, and they're trying to attack. But then if you, so as you can see right here, it's like a stabbing attack. It's forwards, it's really low down. But then you can change it. You can make it sort of come inwards more, and you'll have to move the hand as well to do this. But what you can do is you can just, by simply changing that, you can change their whole position to one of more defending. And so if you bring the arm in, bring the sword in, and sort of angle it across the body, then more of a defensive position than the attacking position that he was taking earlier. And this is what you can do with a lot of armor stand stuff. Small things like that will change the entire way that a person looks. So you see it's a little bit more defensive, and then you can just change, oh, that's the wrong head. You can change the head rotation a little bit, and what you can do, what I'm about to do, is add a shield, and then you can get even more defensive. So it's all about trying to figure out what works with what you're trying to do and what you want to do. Let me grab the shield here, and then we just, oh wait, that's attached to the wrong thing. Hold on, give me a second. That's the thing with working with a lot of armor stands. Always make sure that you lock them. Otherwise, it's a real pain. Otherwise, so let me just swap the two hands. And we should be good in a second. Hold on, sorry. Grab that sword, stick it in their hand, and there we go. Shield there. And then you can just get that person. Oh, that's the wrong person again. Yeah, just, that's when the little light bulb feature comes in. Super handy. You just select it, move on to the sword, and modify. Sorry, the other person, modify. And then you can just bring it up and bring the shield sort of across the body. And yeah, it just changes how the whole character looks and how they're interacting with their environment. I always prefer to leave the shield typically on the hand if they're wielding it, as it already has a place where it hooks in and looks pretty natural. Well, that was the video for today. I hope you all had a great time, and hopefully see you next time. Have a nice day. Bye.